Hello, today we're going to talk a little bit about the two locations or the two buildings that made up the Woodhouse and Bartley Bank. So we'll be starting out with the early days there, back in the later 1800s there, and where it was located, the building that was used at that point, some of the things that were in the building, and then when we get to about 1901, in 1902, we'll be talking about what was considered the new Woodhouse and Bartley Bank, and how beautiful it looked at the time, and still how very impressive looking it is. So we'll be starting out here by looking at a few locations of the old bank, and one that we'll go to here first is looking down the street here quite a ways. You will see here in this scene where the current Woodhouse and Bartley Bank, but over here you see, looking down that way, you can see it as a smaller looking building. Then, for a while, it was next to, of course, fire took a lot of things on the north side of the street too, unfortunately. But here you see the brown building here, and that at one time held different performances in that building before what we think of as the City Opera House here, the American Legion building now, that was a place for performances. And of course you see over there on the side there again, the poor bank building looks rather small compared to some of the other buildings that it was next. And of course there you have a good close-up view of the front of it. And it was used for a lot of things that I will be mentioning here for a few moments, what occupied the bank. Now, fire, as we see a picture coming up here, but this is where I'll be reading from as an article that appeared in the Billington Record. Fire destroyed the interior of Bloomington's oldest building on Main Street. This is back in 1968, December, that I'm reading from. And it says Monday forenoon, December 23rd, Everett Hoare, employed at the B-Town, had living quarters in the rear of the building with a carpenter shop in the foreground. He was not at home at the time of the fire outbreak. Firemen suspect that faulty wiring started the blaze. Now, a few things that were located in it, and over the years it got a lot of use, different ways. For many years, the public library was housed here, followed by a bakery, a barber shop operated by Frank Taylor and Clarence Smith, a tavern operated by Frank and Everett Hoare, the electric shop of Harry Knapp, and later Vern Oates, and the last few years Everett Hoare has had living quarters and a shop in the building. So it got a great deal of use over the years. The prompt action of the fire department contained the flames within. Mrs. Craney stated that she had no smoke damage, but her apartment would have to be fumigated there because of the smoke and so on from the fire. Now we might mention here too, as a little interesting addition, in March of 1883, the Bloomington Library, at that time a subscription type, you had to pay sort of to be a member there to use the library, not like we think of today there where you don't have any charge to come and use it. The library there was moved at that time to the Woodhouse and Bartley Bank, and Milton Woodhouse was the librarian. So I thought that was interesting. Because there are so many years of the Bloomington Record that are missing in the later 1800s here, We really don't know what all took place or when something stopped and didn't keep going. But that's just the way it was there with life. Now going back to looking at one of the pictures again, here we see in May of 1969 where they're taking down, removing the old bank building. Now I'll be talking a little bit, and then we'll look at a couple pictures here about the new bank building. And there's articles that appeared when it was first started in August of 1901, and then April of 1902. It tells a lot about the way the building was put together and what made it so interesting. It was considered to be one of the most beautiful things at the time, and people were very proud of it. It was built to last, and it has lasted, even though in more recent years here, of course, taken over by the People's State Bank, but they have kept a lot of the appearance on the outside and some of the things inside that are still there. And we'll see a little bit of that in just a few moments here in one of the pictures. Ground was broken on the 5th day of August 1901. The building is a 2-story brick structure, 30 by 70 feet, with a 10-foot basement. The front is of Bedford cut stone from Bedford, Indiana, and pressed brick. It has beautiful plate glass windows. It is the most artistic and the handsomest front in southwestern Wisconsin, without a doubt. So that really felt good for everybody, I think. The entrance to the banking room is on the northwest corner and consists of a roomy vestibule, finished in oak and with a tile floor. The lobby of the bank is also floored with a tile of a neat pattern. The counter is made of quarter-sawed white oak with marble base and carved pilasters. The rail consists of beveled chipped plate glass, an ebonized steel grill, and has 2 teller windows, at each of which is a marble dealing plate, and is conveniently arranged inside with cash drawers, pistol shelves, cupboards, check files, and bookshelves. Now it goes into a lot of detail about the bank vault and what it was like at the time there, and the area that people could use for having their safety deposit boxes too. But I won't get into all of that at this time. In the rear of the first story are 2 large parlors in which those customers of the bank having private affairs to attend are entertained. These rooms are elegantly appointed and in strict keeping with the balance of the building. The second story is to be for a secret society hall, or lodges, whatever groups you might have heard about, and is provided with a large reception room, anterooms, pantry, appropriate closets, and all the modern conveniences. Nothing will be omitted which will promote the comfort of the lodges using it. The building is finished in white oak, and the plastering is white finish. It is heated throughout by steam. So I think if we come around this way again, and here we have a nice little interior scene, and that's more of a sepia tone, in case you're wondering why it looks a little different shade. To me, it kind of gives more of an older look, you know, when you do that with pictures. Some people like that, some people don't. But still, when you come into the bank, you know, you still can kind of recognize some of the shapes and so on here when you come into the bank. So this is a very historical building here, very important building, and has really lasted through the time. And here, an outside view. Now, I was trying to find one back quite a ways, but most pictures are taken up and down the street. going that way, so you only see the corner of something. But here you can see still how the original facing net there, and now of course run by the People's State Bank, or one of their branches now. So it really has interesting history and hopefully can keep going for a long time. Oh, one more thing. We should remember about the Woodhouse and Bartley Bank during the Great Depression. Most banks had to close down for a while before opening up again. Woodhouse and Bartley Bank did not have to do that. Their financial situation kept them open. So that's something very outstanding. Very few banks were able to say that. So that's one thing to keep in mind there about the history there of the Woodhouse and Bartley Bank. And so this is just one of the things that we'll try to cover here in the time that we can here in the future concerning some of the different buildings or stores or businesses that existed in town. Hope that you have enjoyed this a little bit here. Again, not everything is always in complete agreement on what might have happened at a particular time, but certainly has a very interesting history and one that we want to try to always keep in mind. So, thank you for watching.